hands it off to Jackson. Jackson uses the screen, lost the handle, bounce pass to Plum. Plum loses it, regains it, throws it up for grabs. Grabbed by Boston out of the sky, and we're going to have a foul here. No, a timeout taken by Indy.
That we dug in. You know, it wasn't ideal in terms of how the game was. It was ugly. We had moments where we were better than others, but we dug in. I mean, when you think about key defensive stops, key offensive rebounds, like AB's key offensive rebound there at the end, you know, making plays, deflections that led to steals or deflections that led to bobbled passes.
Aliyah Boston didn't just play after the game. She owned the whole arena with her words and her performance. In a season where Indiana's been dragging through injuries, she flipped the switch and went full beast mode. 22 points, 11 boards, and a career-high 6 steals. And the way she iced it with that last defensive stop, Fever fans were going wild like they'd just seen history in real time. But the real shock came from her post-game comments. What she hinted at might just be the secret code to Indiana's biggest win of the season. Because here's the twist. Even with half the roster broken down and momentum slipping fast, one unlikely hero lit the spark that crushed LA's comeback and flipped Indiana's whole season on its head. That's not just a win, that's a statement. If you're riding with this squad, light up the comments with "Big Fever win, let's go!" So how do you actually steal a W when nearly your entire lineup is stuck in street clothes? That was the dark cloud hanging over Indiana as they marched into Los Angeles. Caitlin Clark? Out. Sophie Cunningham? Gone. Sydney Colson? Missing. Ari McDonald? Sidelined. 4 guards, 4 playmakers, 4 leaders, all off the floor. For most teams, that's a death sentence in a game with playoff stakes this high, but Indiana had 0 room to fold. No safety net, no backup plan, just grit, heart, and trust in whoever was left standing to carry the fight. This wasn't just about Indiana's injury list. The stakes were way bigger than that. This wasn't some lazy throwaway matchup in August. The Sparks weren't just another opponent. They were Indiana's kryptonite. 3 games, 3 straight losses, each one piling on more frustration, more doubt, and more whispers about whether the Fever could ever crack LA. And to make it worse, the standings were tight and ugly. Indiana was hanging on to 6th place by a thread, with LA lurking just 2 games back. One bad night, and that cushion could have been gone in a heartbeat. Add in 4 losses in their last 5, and suddenly the entire conversation around Indiana turned into one brutal question. Were the Fever collapsing at the absolute worst moment? Now imagine the pressure, 5 games left, a lineup stitched together with tape and hope, and a team the outside world swore was too fragile to handle the heat. This wasn't about chasing rhythm anymore. It was about fighting tooth and nail for every single possession like the season depended on it. And that survival mindset? That's what secretly saved them. Every player who checked in had to give more than usual, and every touch of the ball had to carry weight far beyond the stat sheet. And then came Lexi Hull, not just suiting up, but battling with 2 bruised eyes after colliding with Gabby Williams the game before. She looked banged up, but she didn't flinch for a second. That raw toughness told the whole story of Indiana's fight. Woo Black Eyes and Lexi Hull still went all out, diving headfirst for loose balls, grinding through brutal screens, and locking down defenders like her body wasn't even screaming in pain. She became the living, breathing symbol of what Indiana needed that night. Show up no matter how busted up you feel. Just watching her on the court sent a message you couldn't ignore. If Lexi could push through that kind of pain, then every single player in red had 0 excuse but to fight just as hard. And that's exactly why this game felt different. Forget the highlight reels and flashy step backs. This was pure, gritty, street fight basketball. Every rebound, every stop, every single bucket carried the weight of the whole season. One hot run from LA could have blown the doors wide open, but Indiana refused to fold. They didn't just hang around. They punched back, shot for shot, against a Sparks squad clawing to erase that playoff gap. Fumbled passes didn't break them. The pressure didn't crack them. Instead, that toughness split the game wide open and left a stage waiting for someone to step through. And it wasn't just anyone. It was somebody nobody saw coming. A vet who'd been quietly waiting, watching, ready to grab the moment the second her team needed a savior. That's when Odyssey Sims came alive in Los Angeles. Think about it. This wasn't supposed to be her story. Indiana was supposed to limp their way through, maybe scrap together a win with their skeleton crew. But instead, a 31-year-old vet, who didn't even start, flipped into the heartbeat of the whole showdown and turned the night upside down. For Odyssey Sims, this game wasn't just about stepping up, it was personal. She was facing the Sparks, the same squad that once stitched her name on the back of their own jersey. That history, it lit a fire that you could feel every time she touched the ball. Every drive, every jumper, every possession screamed like it was payback night. At this stage of her career, nobody circles her name on a scouting report. She's not the player defenses scheme around like Aliyah Boston or Caitlin Clark, and normally, when Indiana's top scorer Kelsey Mitchell goes cold, just 5 makes on 14 shots, that's when cracks start to show and teams fold under the weight. But not this night! Sims flipped the whole script. She checked in cool, fearless, and locked in like she'd been waiting her entire career for this exact moment. Her stat line? Strong. 21 points. But it wasn't the total that shocked everyone. It was when she delivered them. She dictated the pace like a vet on a mission, pushing the tempo when Indiana needed life, slowing it down the second LA tried to snatch control. And in crunch time, when the game was slipping into chaos, the ball just kept finding her hands. She weaved through traffic, buried mid-range pull-ups, and left defenders spinning with slick crossovers. These weren't backup guard plays, this was straight star-level basketball. Sims turned herself into Indiana's pressure release valve, the calm in the storm, the closer nobody expected to own the night. And then came the moment that defined it all. Just 13.6 seconds left. Everything on the line, and the ball sitting in Odyssey Sims' hands. Indiana was clinging to life by a thread, the pressure thick enough to choke on, and then it happened. Sims rose up with that silky floater she's been sharpening for years, and it dropped straight through the net. Clean, cold, perfect. That was the dagger. The shot that silenced the Staples Center, slammed the door on LA, and ripped a mountain of pressure off Indiana's back. As she jogged down the floor, no wild celebration, no over-the-top flex. Just calm arms, steady face, like she already knew the night belonged to her from the very start. And then came the cameras, swarming her after the buzzer, and Sims dropped a line that hit harder than the shot itself. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That wasn't just a quote. That was the Fever's entire identity poured into one sentence. No excuses, no panic, just pure preparation meeting the moment head on. And because Odyssey stayed locked in, Indiana didn't just escape with a win, they walked out with proof. Proof that resilience is real, that this team can bend but won't break. But here's the kicker. Sims wasn't carrying it alone. Standing right beside her was the anchor of everything Indiana has built around, Aliyah Boston. And she didn't just fill up the box score with buckets and hustle plays, she delivered a statement with every move. Fans are still buzzing about what she teased after the buzzer, and the wild part? It felt like Boston had already been answering that message all game long. Aliyah Boston didn't just pile up stats. She stamped her name all over this game like it was hers from start to finish. 22 points powering the offense, 11 boards bullying the Sparks front line, 4 assists keeping the rock moving, and 6 steals.
By Plum. Plum 1-on-2, ripped away there by Sims.
Great play by Odyssey Sims. Played the ball.
3-on-3 the other way. Sims the take and finishes the lefty layup.
On Tuesday, you got checked for concussion, facial fracture. Just how much of a sigh of relief was it that you didn't have concussion or any kind of fracture in your face?
Yeah, honestly, when it happened, I was like relieved because I could feel myself like I was good to go. Like I felt completely with it. They did all the tests they needed to do and put ice on it right away. Try to keep the swelling down, but I felt good knowing that obviously it could have been a lot worse, and I'm grateful for the people online wanting to check on me and make sure that I'm okay, but I am okay. I've been fully checked out. So
The most of her entire career. You don't see that kind of all-around takeover often, but Boston carried both ends of the floor like she was built for it. And then came the closer, the moment that sealed the whole thing. With only 1.9 seconds left, LA had one desperate shot to flip it back. but Boston saw it coming before the play even began. She reached in, stripped it clean, and slammed the door shut herself. No chaos, no scramble, no miracle finish, just a superstar ending the game on her own terms. But the real storm came after the buzzer. Cameras swarmed, reporters rushed in, and all eyes locked on Boston to explain how this team clawed its way through the fire. And that's when her words started shaking things up. Everyone was asking, what did that line mean? What was she really hinting at? Her answer came calm but powerful. Boston praised the Fever's next woman up mentality. The belief that when one player goes down, the rest rise up stronger. And she wasn't just tossing out a slogan, she lived it that night, carrying a massive load while still trusting her teammates to deliver in the clutch. This wasn't just Boston's night. It was proof that Indiana's culture is alive, real, and unbreakable. Picture Lexi Hull, face bruised, eyes blackened from that nasty collision just a game ago. And still, she fought like nothing in the world could stop her, charging through bone-crunching screens, flying to the floor for loose balls, locking up defenders like her pain didn't even matter. Then throw in aerial powers off the bench, sparking life into the offense, bringing energy so wild it felt like she refused to let this team fall apart. Put those moments together, and you could see Boston's words jumping off the court. Her leadership was the glue holding Indiana together when it could have all cracked. Sure, the points and steals light up the box score, but Boston's influence went way beyond numbers. When she repeats "next woman up," it's not some empty catchphrase. It's a demand, a challenge to everyone wearing red. A declaration that no injury, no slump, no losing streak will ever define this squad. It's confidence, real confidence, that whoever hits the floor belongs there and can deliver with the game on the line. Sims drives, kicks it out, Hull rises for three. Splash! Huge bucket! Proof that belief isn't just talk. It spreads, it multiplies, it changes everything. And that mindset isn't about hype speeches or luck. It's about identity. That win in Los Angeles didn't just feel big, it locked Indiana into 6th place, gave them breathing room over Seattle, and shoved the Sparks even further back. Suddenly, that playoff ticket looks more secure than ever, not because of miracles, not because of one star dragging them through, but because the entire roster bought into exactly what Boston preached. And now, with this win locked in, all eyes swing to the one storyline everyone's been holding their breath for. We've all seen Aaliyah Boston's leadership on full display, but looming over everything is the giant question that refuses to go away, the star who still hasn't stepped back on the court. The name fans can't stop chanting, tweeting, posting about nonstop, Caitlin Clark, and every Fever supporter has the same words stuck in their head. When? When is Clark finally making that comeback? She's been sidelined for weeks with that groin injury, 17 straight games gone. But now, for the first time, there's a real spark of hope. Clark's back in practice gear, out in shoot-arounds, moving with the squad before tip-off and looking more and more like her old self. It's not full-speed live action just yet, but it's the sharpest she's looked since the night she went down. And the timing? You couldn't script it any better. Indiana's got just 5 regular season games left, each one a razor-edge battle. The Fever are clinging to 6th place, only half a game ahead of Seattle, and one slip could send them crashing down. But flip the script. If Clark returns, she could tilt the entire playoff race overnight. Picture it. Clark running drills, pulling up from deep, testing contact in light scrimmages while coaches hover like hawks, praying for no setbacks. The second she touches the hardwood, the energy shifts. Teammates sharpen up, fans lean in closer, and suddenly the whole season feels like it's riding on her comeback. Teammates keep sneaking glances. Fans can't stop buzzing. Everyone feels the pressure of what's at stake. It's cautious optimism, because as much as Indiana craves Caitlin Clark's return, everyone knows rushing it could flip the season from dream to disaster in a heartbeat. That's the razor-thin line the Fever staff is juggling right now. But then, just look at what this squad pulled off tonight. They knocked off a team that had bullied them all season and did it without their brightest star on the floor. That alone is wild. Now imagine the chaos they could unleash with Clark back in the mix. Before going down, she was dropping 19 points and 8 assists a game. She wasn't just scoring, She was running the entire show, controlling pace, feeding Boston inside, setting up shooters like Kelsey Mitchell with clean looks. Defenders couldn't stop. Numbers like that don't lie. They force every opponent to rip up their game plan the second Indiana shows up. This win proved the Fever can fight and survive without her. But slide Clark's playmaking back into this roster, and suddenly survival flips into something way bigger. The question shifts from, can they just hang on, to, can they actually shake the whole playoff picture? Still, the cloud hangs heavy. That groin injury is the one shadow nobody can ignore. The risk of re-aggravation keeping everyone holding their breath. And with the postseason only days away, Caitlin Clark's return has the power to flip Indiana from scrappy underdogs into full-blown contenders overnight. That's why this win wasn't just another mark in the standings. It carried a weight way past the box score. Every sign shows Clark inching closer to her return, and suddenly it feels like Indiana's season is only just heating up.
Resilience, coming back and just having that great floater for the win. Can you guys just talk about the camaraderie, everything that's happened with the team, the injuries, and just how you guys have been able to coalesce as one cohesive unit despite all of everything that's happened?
Yeah, honestly, I think from the start of our season, we talked about a season's not going to be perfect, and if something happens, next woman up. And I feel like that's really been the story of our season with everything that's happened, people we've added, no matter how late in the season.
To get the swelling to go down in my forehead. So I put a patch, slept with it. The next day, woke up, and I was like, okay, the bump is almost gone, but now I have 2 black eyes. So that was tragic. But I mean, it's at this point, it's unfortunately won't be able to hide it. People know, so just rolling with it.
Were you able to hide it for the photo shoots?
Makeup artist did a really, really, really good job. And people that hadn't met me before were like, oh, I can't even tell. I'm like, okay, that's good. We'll take it. But I'm hoping they'll do some editing in the post.
Beating the Sparks wasn't about hanging on for dear life. It was about proving they're building something bigger. The Fever showed they can fight, grind, and flat out thrive without their brightest star in uniform. Every hustle play, every defensive stand, every clutch bucket screamed toughness. Fans saw it with their own eyes. This squad isn't folding when the moment gets heavy. And now, with Clark looking closer to stepping back on the hardwood, Indiana doesn't just look like survivors, they look like a squad learning how to close games under fire. That kind of growth? Priceless. For Fever fans, hope isn't just alive right now. It's blazing brighter than ever heading into 2025. A team that wins like this, with grit, resilience, and that next woman up mindset, is only scratching the surface of what's possible. So if you're pumped about this run, drop it in the comments. Big Fever win. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you never miss the action. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.